What's up, guys? In today's episode, I talk about that crazy band called DragonForce. Stay tuned. What is up, you guys? It's your boy Luis Torres, and before I start talking smack, I want to start this video off by saying that I have watched tons of videos of the band DragonForce. They are extremely talented musicians. The drummer is incredible. The bassist is great. The two guitarists do things that I can only dream of doing someday. The singer's voice is absolutely incredible. So they are amazing at what they do. Now we're going to talk shit. So I kind of feel, and keep in mind that the genre that DragonForce is kind of in, you know, they've been around, or that genre has been around since the late 70s, early 80s with Iron Maiden, and through the mid 80s with Iron Maiden, through the early 90s with Iron Maiden, through all of the 2000s with Iron Maiden, 2010 to 20 with Iron Maiden. So to me, I feel like they're just copying a band that you may have heard of called Iron Maiden. And the singer is a hair. If you've ever heard or remember the band Helloween, I remember seeing Helloween. It was either 1988 or 1989 in New York City at the Felt Forum, and it was Anthrax, Exodus, and with Gary Holt from Slayer, along with Helloween. So I'll put a link in the description of the song that every song DragonForce has reminds me of this one song by Helloween. And listen, here's the one thing that I kind of don't like, right? Is all of their videos where they're just like, you know, the singer's like, yeah. I'm just eating a candy bar. It's literally all these shows in Japan, in Europe somewhere, like some crazy East European bloc, you know, where there's still a dictator, and the only band that they allow their music to come in is DragonForce, because the dictator's favorite metal band is Helloween from 1988. So I had never heard of DragonForce. To me, it sounds like a cartoon. You know, someone came up with that name. How about DragonForce? Oh, dude, that's the best name ever. No, it sounds like a cartoon. That's just me. So, I had maybe seen one or two videos that just kind of glanced through. It was just in passing. And I remember right out of the rip thinking, it's a Helloween cover band. So fast forward to the time that Stevie T was asked by DragonForce to fill in for bass. And, you know, Stevie T is a gifted guitarist. There's no doubt about that. And of course, if you're a gifted guitarist, you're going to be an incredible bassist. So it made sense that they would have Stevie T take over for bass, right? So especially a band like that, where you have two talented guitarists just, you know, feeding off each other and ripping on one guy's ripping on leads, the next guy is ripping on leads, they're going back and forth, and next thing you know, a 4-minute song, has 3 minutes of soloing. So it made sense to have Stevie T, and he ended up declining because apparently he has just terrible anxiety when it comes to being on stage. So I'm under the impression that Stevie T probably has never played in a band on stage ever. And that's just, it is what it is. I grew up and it wasn't like that. You either played guitar and you never played with anyone and you never got better, or you played in a band and you eventually got better because now you have a group of people that you're all working for the same goal. So I remember thinking that it was kind of beat that Stevie was all amped about it and then reneged on the offer and just said, hey, I kind of can't. I have kind of stage fright. So that kind of, for me, threw this cartoon band into the forefront. So now I would randomly run into them. And funny enough, the one guitarist, not the guy that wears the knitted hat, the guy with the long straight black hair, he was in, I guess he has a YouTube channel. Maybe it was a DragonForce video, but there's that one heavy set guitarist. And I remember him because he would always kind of poke fun. He'd kind of play like a Beatles song and then make that Beatles song into a black metal song. And it would just change from one dynamic to the next. And I'll put a link below to the guy that I'm talking about. I have to look. I don't even know the guy's name. It's like, I don't even remember. So I was just watching a Wasted Years by Iron Maiden. And, all of it, I just had it playing in my head and I just looked for it on YouTube. And funny enough, the very next video was DragonForce. And they were in some Asian country, literally thousands of people in this giant arena. And they are in love with DragonForce. And I'm just like, come on, kids. How are you guys all amped about the cartoon band and you're seeing them and probably not into Iron Maiden? You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of feel like all these whippersnappers are all into DragonForce, and I'm just like, dude, they're just the new kids on the block. You know what I'm saying? So funny. I'm listening to one of their songs, and it was live, and it just shocked me at how talented these guys are. But it made me angry that they were this popular, and they are on stage. They had to have been headlining because the entire stage was all DragonForce everywhere. And I don't know, like listen, I'm just an old guy who's just like, come on, son, Iron Maiden's been done. But I can say the same about hardcore and most genres of metal, right? You can sit back and just be like, yo, this band sounds just like this other band. Who did I put on earlier on my Google Home? I ended up putting As Blood Runs Black because I know Dan. And it literally switched over to all these other bands. And funny enough, like 3 bands in a row sounded identical. And as each one, so I remember listening to the first one and I didn't know what band it was. And it was some random band that I had heard of, but don't really listen to. Then another song came on and it sounded exactly the same. And I'm like, it has to be the same band. Nope, it was another band. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right. They're in that same style. And then a third band came on, or a third song, and I was convinced that it was either going to be the first band or the second band, and none. A third band out of the blue. So I was just like, okay. So of course, with all of these genres, there are bands that have been there before. They have their own following, and it is what it is. It's Monday. I'm in a hateful mood, in case you haven't noticed. But yeah, so I don't like DragonForce just because I don't like DragonForce. I feel like that music, that style has been out, and it came, it went, and I grew up with Iron Maiden. I had Seventh Son of a Seventh Son literally 2 days after that album launched. I had the album. And I'm going back to, what was that, 87 or 88? And, so I'm a huge Maiden fan. So I'm a little upset at the fact that these guys are, grabbed onto their coattails, like even the singer sounds like them and the two guitarists sound exactly like them. And years ago, I don't know, it must have been maybe 90, 91. I was with Jonathan Rosado. If you're into punk, he is the singer guitarist of the punk band, The Craze from New York City. So he was my best friend growing up. Like he literally I lived on 46th Street. He lived on 45th Street. He was a drummer. So I would go to his house and we would jam. And the first show I've ever played was with Jonathan, and subsequent shows and bands that I was in was with Jonathan. So we ended up going to Sam Ash on 48th Street because I wanted to go to the ESP custom shop. And suddenly, and I think I may have mentioned this in an old YouTube video. So all of a sudden we heard a British accent. And, I think at the time it was rare. But for some reason we kind of both looked at each other and we were just like, huh. And we were in the drum section because Jonathan was looking for a snare. And we look over and it's Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden. So we ended up going to the guy that worked it. We're like, please tell us that you have a pen. So he gave us a pen and a pad, and we asked for Nico's autograph. And nicest guy, giant of a man, like 6'6". I mean, he was huge. But the nicest, sweetest man, one of the nicest musicians that I've ever met in my entire life. We hung out and talked for like 10 minutes. We were like, dude, we've been huge Iron Maiden fans. Jonathan, this is pre-internet. So Jonathan was like, dude, I literally have photos of me wearing an Iron Maiden shirt when I'm like 10. So I have like this little history with Iron Maiden, which is literally just a blip. But it's something that at my age, I still remember like it happened 5 minutes ago that I met Nico at Sam Ash. So do I like DragonForce? No, because I feel like that type of music and that genre has already been covered by literally some of the biggest bands that they clearly grew up listening to. So I just think it's kind of cheeseballish to, kind of play that type of music. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just me. But what do you guys think? Do you guys like DragonForce? If you do, please unsubscribe to my channel right now. No, I'm completely kidding. Because if you like DragonForce, you probably like Iron Maiden. And yes, yes, and yes. But to me, I kind of hate DragonForce. I kind of do. But again, leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. If you hate DragonForce, let me know. If you've never heard of them, let me know. If you love them, tell me why you love them. Is it because you like Iron Maiden? Because you like other bands that were in that ballpark? I mean, not to say that they are like King Diamond, but even the voice and, Andy's way of playing his melodic leads, is in that ballpark that DragonForce plays. So, I mean, I can clearly see the connection of old guys like me liking DragonForce, but come on, son, don't you dare do it. Don't do it. You better not become a DragonForce fan, jerk. All right, guys. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Get yourself a whatchamacallit because they're the best. Thank you so much for watching, and as usual, I'll talk to you guys soon. Dude, I buy these in packs of 36.